Imagine something the size of an ocean liner that floats in the sky. With amenities like piano lounges, dining rooms, and private staterooms, they were a luxurious way to travel the world. 80 years ago, we had airships. Cruising 200 meters above the ground, they flew so smoothly that you could stand a pencil on its end without it falling over. And plans were being drawn up for even bigger, more luxurious airships. Until this happened, the whole world watched in horror as one burned to the ground in front of rolling cameras. And giant airships, well, they seemingly disappeared overnight. First taking flight in 1936, the Hindenburg was, and still is, people weren't used to seeing things like this, and it made the tragedy all the more horrifying. Many people consider the golden age of airship travel to have ended here with the Hindenburg catastrophe. Public confidence was shattered, and the romance and the extravagance of airships suddenly disappeared. But did the Hindenburg disaster bring an end to the giant airship? Well, for something nearly the size of the Titanic, the Hindenburg could only carry 72 passengers at most, and it needed an additional 52 crew members to operate. Compare that to an ocean liner of the day, which could comfortably carry almost 2,000 passengers and had a crew and staff of over 1,000. Giant airships like the Hindenburg carried so few passengers despite their massive size, because lifting gases, such as helium, just don't provide all that much lift. Even when the Hindenburg switched from helium to hydrogen, it could still only manage to lift about 100,000 pounds. Sounds like a lot, but that's only about the weight of 8 elephants. So, everything on the Hindenburg had to be designed to be as lightweight as possible, to make sure the whole thing could stay afloat. Those passenger cabins, tiny and cramped, complete with bunk beds. Not so luxurious. Even the walls and doors had to be made out of lightweight foam covered in fabric, so you could hear your neighbor talking, coughing, or worse. And none of the cabins had their bathrooms. That's too heavy, so you'd have to go down a flight of stairs to use shared bathrooms. For 72 passengers, there was one single shower. Water, which weighs a lot, had to be rationed. So even that one shower wasn't much more than a trickle. The airship's grand piano had to be made out of special lightweight aluminum, but even that was eventually removed to save weight. And yeah, maybe these are compromises you have to accept for floating in the sky, but the whole thing was absurdly expensive too. In today's dollars, a single one-way trip aboard the Hindenburg cost almost $7,000. And sure, an ocean liner was half the speed, but a first-class cabin on an ocean liner came with a sprawling suite with a private bathroom. Tickets on ocean liners were more affordable even as the accommodations were much more luxurious, with giant ballrooms, theaters, and even indoor swimming pools. And by 1937, if you wanted to cross the ocean as fast as possible, aircraft were just starting to make transatlantic crossings. By the time the Hindenburg went up in flames in 1937, the airship was already obsolete. It couldn't compete with the comfort and luxury of an ocean liner. Its speed couldn't match an aircraft, and all of it was absurdly expensive. Today, the giant airship remains an irresistible concept. But physics, just like it did 80 years ago, always manages to bring the giant airship idea back to Earth. If you pacified your curiosity, then give the video a like and share it with your friends. Or if you want more, click on these videos and stay on the flying era.